be with you today. Privileged and honored because I love to speak to the young audience. You know, a lot of old people like me, cynical, tell youth are useless, youth are hopeless. To all of them I tell that youth are used less and youth are hoped less. And the hope lies, the country's hope lies in each one of you. And when I say this, I say it from my heart, because after retirement, this is the first time I'm coming to such an elite audience. Not that school students are not elite. I have only been confining myself to speaking to schools and colleges on leadership and management. I am doubly happy because the subject is very contemporary, very controversial, and is hitting the news every day. When Amit asked me to speak, I gladly accepted this invitation. And at the end of it, I am 100% certain that I am going to be richer in my knowledge. I am going to be clearer in my thoughts. And then I am going to be dearer in heart with each one of you. I am not sure what you are going to get at the end of it. If you don't get anything at the end of it, you know what to do and whom to do. My only request to you is, please allow me to disappear from the scene and do whatever you want to do, because I don't want to be an accessory to the fact. He asked me to speak on civil-military relations. You know, all the three terms have their connotation: civil, military, and relations. I am very saddened to come in front of you to speak on this subject. And the reason is, why are we distinguishing between civil and military? Why are we come to a stage where we have to discuss the relations? Do you ever discuss the relations of husband and wife unless there is some problem in there? Do you ever discuss India and Peru relations? I have never seen in paper. But we do discuss Indo-Pak relations, Indo-China relations, and husband and wife relation comes to steep only when there is a problem. So therefore, I presume that there is a problem in civil-military relations. Is that a real problem? Is that a perceived problem? It is for you to judge at the end of this thing. Now, having said that, why are we here? The reason 1.5 months has been real fireworks. Two major questions are being asked. First question: has the Indian Army grown too much for its boots? Is it crossing the Lakshman Rekha? Is civilian supremacy being challenged? These are the questions which have been raised in writing, in TV shows. For the first time, that they are ready to do a coup d'etat, a word which I never heard in the last 65 years of independence. First time, Indian Army is being doubted of doing a coup d'etat. This has come in black and white from a renowned journalist. Very serious implications. To all those who say, is the army planning to do a coup d'etat? Is it ready to do a coup d'etat? My answer is, it has already done a coup d'etat. Let me not shock you. Why? The Indian Army is manning the entire Chinese-Pak borders and controlling the entire borders. It is in deep activities whenever internal security is taking place. I will talk about it a little later. Be it famine, nowadays there are no famines, be it earthquakes, be it floods, be it tsunami, the Indian Army is there. Nobody else is there apart from some civilian friends. Police withdraws and army is there at any time of crisis. Now forget about all the crises. When a babe falls into your tube well, army uncle ji aake mujhe bachaiye. Even a babe falling into tube well doesn't believe in anybody else other than the army. But this is the state of affairs. You know, most of our army betis have taken over the Bollywood. Do you know Priyanka Chopra and the others are from the army background? Now, what other takeover you want? Do you mean to say that the army should go and sit in Tenjanpat? Or do you mean to say it should sit in Sabdarjung Road? Or sit in Raisina Hills? Is that the takeover? Army has already taken over. Let people who have any doubt that army is not taken over, army is already taken over. But not in the sense which is being spread. Rumors. Why rumors? Writing and defaming the army. It saddens me, it frustrates me, it disappoints me, but doesn't anger me. Because I know you people are going to come out very soon and set things right. And that's the reason why I come in front of you and talk to you today. Right. Now, having talked about the coup d'etat, let me give you the background. Let's go back to 1947. When India got its independence, everything got divided. The rekas, the boundaries were earmarked, the army also got divided. So what happened to the army? The apolitical British Indian Army became a political Indian National Army. Mark the word apolitical. Only change was from British Indian Army, it became Indian National Army. It continues to be apolitical today, despite best of efforts by people. Contrast this with Pakistan. In my time, when the independence took place, I was born, the army consisted mainly of Punjabis. So the western Punjabis went to Pakistan, the eastern Punjabis came to army. Same stock. And what is the condition today in Pakistan? You better know. You know it better than me. One sentence will suffice the nature of Indian Army and Pakistan Army. You can easily say the Pakistan Army has a state in Pakistan, while Indian state has an Indian Army. That's the difference. And we continue to be in that state, and I can assure you, we can never go wrong in it. Is the Indian Army capable of doing the coup d'etat? Yes, it's capable of doing it. Let me not shock you again. But my conditions are, if United States Army can take over US, Indian Army can take over India. Let that happen first. Second, if India can beat China in a full-fledged war, India can take over. So till that happens, let us rest assured we are going to be an apolitical, democratic army respecting civilian supremacy. Let not people on the streets have any doubts. Unfortunately, this has been unnecessarily spread to mislead army. We need to clarify this. Right. Now the next question in the form of leak is a question which is asked, is the Indian Army ready to take its task, both external and internal security? I'm going to talk about it a little more detail a little later. So these are the two major questions, and all the other things are silent. Why these things have come up at this time? Is it a new phenomenon? Is General V.K. Singh suddenly become very daring and what should I say? He wants to take over? The answer is positively no. Right. So for that, let me go back to 1947 again, because this background is going to be very useful to you. From 1947 till date, I will give you 4 or 5 operational situations where Indian Army dictated Indian civilian supremacy and their orders without questioning its logic, even though some of them are stupid. First, let me go back to 1948, when Pakistani army in the form of Mujahideen walked into Kashmir, when Kashmir was not part of India. Hari Singh, Maharaja Hari Singh was desperate and signed an instrument of succession and asked for Indian help desperately. Indian army walked in, and then Pakistan army has already occupied a portion which you call it Pakistan occupied Kashmir, POK. Indian army was ready to throw them out and even capture a place called Skardu, which is one of the strategic places in Kashmir. But what happened? Indian government panicked, went to UN, stopped. Result? Despite armies, proper advice, we the civilian government overruled. No, we will go to UN government, we will sort it out. Peace-loving nation. The army said, fine, we will obey the orders. And what are we doing? For the last 40 years, we are chasing terrorists. If we had taken Pakistan in 1948 and got back Kashmir, all these problems would have been solved. Today we have totally quagmired into the whole issue. Whose fault it is? Ours or the political? And where did the army cross the Lakshman Rekha? Army obeyed the orders, knowing fully well it's going to harm this country. 48. I go back to 1962. We were not prepared. I was in a place called Bombila in 1962, which is part of Arunachal Pradesh. We were not prepared. We didn't have equipment. We didn't have proper guns. Even for a jersey, we had to take 3 years to get it. Pullover. Pathetic, you can't believe it. But we could go and buy it in Ludhiana for 10 rupees those days. But the army was being supplied it at 75 rupees jersey by the ordnance factories. And they will take 3 years to supply it. It's ridiculous. But then army never questioned all this. But 62, what happened? Army said, let us not take any panga with Chinese. Let us not unnecessarily, all your Panchashil, Hindi Chini, bye-bye. After all that, don't go and unnecessarily provoke China. We went and provoked China and we got a bad licking. The army did not make any noise, civilian supremacy. Let's come to 71 ops. Let's come to 65 operations. In 65 operations, there are many instances I don't want to do. I just want to give one to this elite audience. That one, we captured Haji Pir Pass, one of the most important pass overlooking the road to the lake. And it also dominates the Uri Bav, if you know the geography. We got it after many attempts. We lost many lives. I don't want to go into the detailed stories. To cut the story short, in 1966 in Tashkent, under the pressure, we handed over Haji Pir Pass. Today we bear the brunt of it. Our convoys are under the eyesight of the Pakistanis. Whenever they want, they can throw stones at you and stop your convoys. And this is 1965. Where did the army question the wisdom of the civilian supremacy in 1965? Never. Knowing fully well we are doing a strategic blunder. But once the army told the military, the civilian, they said no, we have acceded to this. We said fine, we saluted that order and respected that order. Come down to 71. That was a golden period where we won Bangladesh, we established as a nation, we established as an army. Lot of laurels came into our way. And what did we do? We handed over 93,000 prisoners on platter to Pakistan without raising one condition. If we only had kept them for 6 months or little more and then said, start out Kashmir, then we will give all these three. Certainly the families of those 93,000 is not a small number. Today one collector is per, look at the whole country is in standstill. 93,000 prisoners, Pakistan would have been on fire. The government would have been brought on to knees and to sort out this Kashmir problem. We said no, send them back. Where did the army disobey the civilian order? We did it. And today, we are regretting that Pakistan issue has not been settled. When we were strong, when we were partitioned, we were 5:1 against Pakistan army. Today the ratio is 1:2.5. And today both are nuclear. There is the question of doing offensive operation. So I leave at that. For you to judge whether the army is democratic or it's not. It's much more democratic than any institutions in India. Let me say that with pride. And you all must take pride in it. And then go and make it a big issue outside. And then change the views of some journalists. I don't know what they're doing, paid, unpaid, I don't know whatever they're doing. We need to correct this. I now come down to the administration issues of the history. 1947, again. When the turn of the chief was being taken, that is the time when Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was trying to reorganize the states, get Hyderabad, get Goa and whatnot. So the army excelled itself in the Hyderabad operations, in Goa operations and in J&K and in all reorganization of states. and then the army stock went up. That is where the problem of the politicians. The insecurity started in 1947, including Jawaharlal Nehru. They thought the army is growing big, and that insecurity continues till 2012. I do not know. Unnecessary, unwanted insecurity coming out and then crashing down. This is very unfortunate. So when the selection of chief came, General Karipa was the senior most and was to be made the chief. Somebody was talking about it when I at about 3:30 this afternoon. General Rajendra Singh Ji, who is also from Gujarat, and his brother had worked with Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in reorganization of states. And therefore he wanted Rajendra Singh Ji to be made the chief. You know what General Rajendra Singh Ji did? If I was Rajendra Singh Ji, I would have walked up and occupied the chair before he changed his mind. Rajendra Singh Ji went to Nehru and said, don't do this. Army stands on seniority principle. If you rock this, you will rock the discipline of the army. I refuse to become the chief. Make Kariappa the chief. Kariappa became the chief. Isn't that patriotism? Right. Now the next one. 1962. You know the lift. Somebody was talking about General Timmaiah versus Krishna Menon. Krishna Menon is very rhetoric, very close to Jawaharlal Nehru, and Timmaiah was a very strong army person. So Krishna Menon won't take anything from him, good or bad. Bad he did not take, good at least he must take. But he refused to take it. Like a good army officer, without revolting, he put in his resignation. Jawaharlal Nehru called him to his office, requested him to take his back. You know the reason why he wanted this resignation to be taken back? Because General Ayub Khan, who was the number one in Pakistan, was flying over to Dhaka. He was flying over Delhi, he was not even landing Delhi. He says, you know, we will create battle. Ayub Khan might get. They panicked and said, withdraw this resignation. General Timmaiah withdrew. You know what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru did? He went to the parliament and castigated General Timmaiah. Oh, he has done this, that and whatnot, without actually telling the truth. General Timmaiah kept quiet. He didn't go to the press. He retired gracefully. Isn't it respecting civilian supremacy? Right. Next. You know, in 1962 operations, B.M. Kaul was appointed. I do not know whether you know. He was responsible for the debacle of 1962. B.M. Kaul. I am not going into any history of B.M. Kaul. He was very close to Nehru family. He was made the quartermaster general, and he was also made a corps commander during 1962 battle. And there were rumors that after Nehru what B.M. Kaul was to be the answer. Nobody knows about it. But these are the rumors. Right. At that time, the chief said he will not be made whatever he is. He was overruled, the chief. The chief said, fine. Did we cross the Lakshman Rekha at that time? Right. 1964. Nehru's death. You know, coincidence, what happened when the league took place, when coup d'etat, when 2 battalions of 400 people, 800 people were moving towards Delhi. Hoo-ha was made. Oh, Delhi is being circled and army is taking over. One brigade, which is 4 times more the strength, was moving for exercise towards Delhi during Nehru's death. Even when that suspicion was there, oh, coup d'etat, the IB was standing behind the chief. You know, where is the chief going? They followed him for 48 hours. I hope he's not up to some mischief. These are all facts, not known to public. This is 1964. Right. Then, 1971. You know, after Sam Manekshaw won Bangladesh war, to sort out a few things, he was given extension. Normally, no chief is given extension. He was given extension of a few months. And General Behu also had to retire during that extension period. And there was another general who in the line of succession was General Bhagat, an outstanding engineer officer who should have taken over the army. But then manipulation took place and General Behu was given an extension, which is never in the history, so that he could take over. You know, General Bhagat was asked to go to a press conference and explain his state. He says, refused. He just went into oblivion. He could have gone to the court and questioned and he would have won the case. But he didn't go. He retired. Is it questioning civilian supremacy? Right. Then 1975, when Bangla Bandhu, Mujibur Rahman was assassinated, the army was put on alert. The politicians were so scared that say, "Hamari to nahi bari hai next assassination ki." So each one of them did and told the army to patrol the streets. And I will tell you a very small incident, how panicked our politicians are. One of the lieutenant colonels, very young officer, had a party on a Saturday. Today you should also should have had beer and want to sleep. Some of you are here. He was roaming around somewhere near Safdarjung and whatnot. He was arrested. They said he is, doing some recce to take over. Because that fear of Bangla Bandhu being assassinated was hitting our politicians. See the sense of insecurity in our politicians. If they are good, a good person will never feel insecure. It's only weak people feel insecure, unfortunately. Right. The next interesting, which many people don't know, is only the army circles know, I am confiding in you. 75-77 was the period of emergency. Right? General Raina was summoned, I won't name people, by the highest, whosoever is in power. Now the army should come and help in maintaining emergency. You know what General Raina said? I will obey legally constituted government and legally given orders. I won't obey any legal order. Knowing fully well he would have been sacked. But he had the guts to say that. Did he cross civilian supremacy at the risk of being national and not being anti-democratic? This is what you people have to understand. Right. First, when elections were lost by the party, General Raina was summoned. We proposed to reintroduce the emergency. You got enough troops, keep one battalion of 400 people in each district. The number worked out. You know what General Raina told the young person who gave the suggestion to him? He said, "You are mathematically correct. It is militarily unsound. It is politically immature and insane." This is the comment given by the chief. It is politically insane, militarily unsound. I will not use army to reimpose interim. So we were spared of emergency second time. Otherwise, you would have been drilling under emergency second time. History would have recorded. Now I come down to 1983. Another supersession took place in the form of General Sena, who has been governor in many places, and then he records. This was a clear manipulation. He was a very strong man. He was perceived to be associated with JP movement, which was against the government. So therefore they said we will supersede him. So first time they superseded by manipulation, this time they superseded him wantonly. They superseded him. General Sena went to the press first time. And you know what he said? I respect the government's decision. I will fade away like a good soldier. And he requested all my soldiers, please give all your cooperation to the next chief who is as good if not better than me. This is what a man who was superseded, who would have gone to court, he would have won the case, but he went and made a statement and ensured that the men in uniform remain in dignity and honor, remain with that discipline. He showed that way. I can keep on repeating. There was another dismissal of Vishnu Bhagavat. So by BJP government, I don't want to get into it. What I am trying to arrive at is the army is apolitical. The army is democratic. The army will never think of a coup. And if there are any such statements outside vested interests who want to, I would even call it anti-national. I don't know why we are not taking action against them. So therefore, to this elite audience, I have given you a background. From 1947, from the transformation till date, army has never thought of coup d'etat. Army has never thought of anything. It remains democratic. Right. Now, having given this background, why is civil-military relations today talked about? What is happening? We must introspect. But what does all these events done to the army is much more important to me. It has done great damage to this grand edifice of the army, both psychologically, morally, and all the people sitting in the borders guarding you through thick and thin at minus 45 degrees. What are they doing this for? For whom are they doing? So that all of us can sit in air conditioned room, have a sound sleep. It has done great damage to them, and it's going to take a long time to repair this damage. And unfortunately, we as Indians were never in the habit of introspection of our national strength. We need to introspect and then take corrective actions. Now, I'm going to give you 4 or 5 important indicators of this civil-military relations. You are all intelligent enough to make your own assessment. The first factor, matters military, matters concerning national security. The political class is generally indifferent, generally apathetic, generally not knowledgeable. You take anything which happens in the parliament, kasab will be discussed. Hundreds of crores will be spent, hundreds of days will be spent discussing kasab. Babri Masjid will be discussed. Some rape case will be discussed. But, whether it is Bangalore Lakshman, whether there are 2 Bs, this will be discussed. Have you ever seen a serious discussion on national security, operational preparedness? Not once in my 60 years I have ever seen parliament. Why are they not getting it? Because the knowledge is not there. It is generally apathy, generally indifference. Why this indifference? Because this topic is not a vote bank topic. Babri Masjid is a vote bank topic. Bangalore Lakshman is a vote bank topic. National security is not a vote bank topic. So therefore this indifference continues for the last 60 years. That's the only reason. Right. Now, apart from this, if you have never worked in the army headquarters, I have been meeting the defense minister. The political activity is intense. They are living from day to day. Why day to day, hour to hour? AM something is happening, PM something is happening. There is always firefighting by the political bosses. And who are the defense ministers put? The best person is put in the finance because it's the most tricky thing. He has to be knowledgeable. Somebody asks what is GDP, you should not say some G, what is G for? I know one G, other G's, but what is this G? You can't ask that. So they put a knowledgeable person. Home, always a troublesome. You put a chap, he may not be knowing internal security, but he should be a good English-speaking person every time. And then you get a Oxford, Harvard person with no knowledge, but yet he will be there. Right. Then what do you do with the senior cronies who have to be given plum post, defense and foreign affairs? Who wear, what is the coat you call it? French one, I forget the name. Nice beat coat, made in France, whatever name. Such person put in foreign affairs. Armani, whatever. That type. Right? And then put in defense, who has been most loyal. These are the criteria. And then the ministries are allotted as per seniority. And then it is, in barter system. You want 3. These 3. They will say no. What tamasha takes place? I have witnessed this tamasha. 4 prime ministers, when they were sworn in, as military secretary I was there. Just stop the letter. Right. So, with this intense political activity, even with the best of intentions and in the best of times, the Raksha Mantri doesn't have time for defense affairs, strategic affairs. You go and sit there to discuss very important thing. I am talking of 10, 12 years back. I am not hinting at anybody, but this is usual for everybody. When you are discussing an important thing, 20 telephone calls come. There is crisis in Kerala, there is crisis in the party. OIC, then after 20 minutes I am coming. All the important discussions he will throw it and for next 10 days. You brief the joint secretary there. And that's the end of it. So that takes priority. Raksha Mantri doesn't find time because of this intense political activity. That is the first civil-military relation problem. Right. The second one. The Ministry of Defense is very unique unlike other ministries. Why? National security, matters of military is very serious business. You go to the US, the best person is in the defense ministry. The person selected are war veterans who have seen war, they know exactly what it is. And you have to take decisions pertaining to national security, internal security. And then these decisions have to be absolutely precise and in time. And there is no time. So therefore and then the worst problem is, unless you have interaction with the military hierarchy, you cannot understand these military matters. There is no interaction at all. I do not know why people shun uniform, and the civilian supremacy doesn't permit uniform to come closer. There must be friendliness. There must be familiarity without breeding contempt. There must be understanding made through this. But at the same time, you assert with your hand because you are the boss. But that familiarity would have given you first-hand information. This does not happen. There is very rarely interaction. You see the chiefs in parties with the Raksha Mantri, in the television. Have you ever seen in any serious discussion where Raksha Mantri and others sitting and discussing operational requirements? Never in one seminar they will be together. But this is our problem. So Ministry of Defence, this interaction is missing, leading to strain in civil-military relations. The third important point is we are a proletarian army. We are not army from the lords, like other countries. The army is drawn, officers class, is drawn from middle class and lower middle class, a proletarian, which always deferred to the wishes of civilian supremacy. Yes sir, that's it. 3 bags full, right or wrong. That's how we have been trained. Never to question it. Sometimes I wonder whether we are doing the right thing. We must question the legitimate things. But then that is how the army is made. So therefore, how does the civilian supremacy gap this gap by the bureaucracy? And that's where the problem starts. Right. How does that problem manifest? The man who is in control, the civilian elected representative who is in control, feels more comfortable with civilian bureaucracy where there is no uniform worn. If you were to say, suppose I come in uniform, I would already distance myself, whether it's incidental or I do not know. But if I have come in civil, even though in your mind I am an army man, but at least the gap is bridged. But this cycle continues, even at the highest level. So therefore, they are close to the bureaucracy. They don't have time to take decisions. So therefore, from mundane decisions to even the policy decisions, crisis management, every firefighting, everything is done by bureaucracy. So what has happened? Over a period of time, the civilian supremacy has handed over the reins to the bureaucratic supremacy. This is not good. They respect civilian supremacy. But where is the bureaucrats who have come from generalistic cadre suddenly become experts in military affairs where 40 years of the chief is not an expert? This is one of the reasons for the strain in the military. Right. Now I talk about the bureaucracy. I have a lot of respect for bureaucracy. Some of them are outstanding. We have people like Menons who have risked his neck. There is one there, I was reading the other day, one of the Chennai young person who followed rules. My own brother-in-law was posted in Sangareddy in Hyderabad. He was known as Palu Chakravarti. He brought a milk scheme and became popular. So Brahmananda Reddy was the chief minister, then called in and said, go slow, the MLA is getting very annoyed. So go slow on this project. Now this is our polity. The civilian people are caught up with the bureaucrats and the other people whom they have to work. Now bureaucracy may be accused of anything, from obduracy, from lack of decisions, and to even malice. Most of them are overrated. I don't subscribe that our bureaucrats can be ascribed to all this. They are good. But one thing, uniformly, everybody can ascribe is they are resistant to change. One example I will give you. One of my friends who is ex-naval chief is a member of a task force for security reforms, formed 10 to 12 years back. Till today, not one decision has been taken. 12 years. reason bureaucrats put some red tape is out, some hurdles. Now this attitude has to change. Right. Now what has all this, what I have talked resulted in? All this has resulted in, we have created an atmosphere of unfriendliness, recrimination and systemic dysfunctionalities. I am not bothered about relation, but I am bothered about systemic dysfunctionalities which is affecting the operational preparedness of the army. One recent example, I don't have to go back in history and give you example. Tatra, everything is fresh in your mind. You know, for 40, 50 years you have been buying 7,000 trucks and till today we have not been able to produce one truck. They are sending people to moon, they are sending people, the missiles are going off to 6,000, 8,000 kilometers and we can't produce truck. This is systemic dysfunctionality. 40 years. I don't want to go into any more examples. This one is good enough. The chief talked, you know, this 14 crore became a bogey. Then they started shooting the messenger, then the message. You know, in Parliament, I was really pained to see some of the veteran politicians who call themselves veterans, who every time when there is a talk, they say politics, Parliament is supreme. We are supreme people. To whom are you supreme? Supreme is you. What Anna says, the people are supreme. Parliament is supreme, but the people are next to supreme. So what did they say? Chief appears to be a traitor. Chief should be sacked. But you know, great people, politicians, seasoned politics. Is that a statement you go and make it national parliament? In what capacity you are making such statements? The chief talked of ammunition shortage. I will tell you, I have fought war. You know, you don't get notice. You know, these are days of instant, you know, chatmangani bhatbya. So even marriages take place. Fast food, there is no prepared food. Everything is quick. In those days, we have to keep 40 to 45 days of ammunition reserve. We are down to 7, 8, 10 days, whatever it is. The chief pointed out this ammunition shortage. Is this wrong? Has chief violated the protocol? Chief is entitled to write to the Prime Minister, who is responsible for this country's nation. Tomorrow the chief cannot be blamed. This army was not prepared. This is the responsibility of the civilian government to see that the army is prepared to take everybody. This is very important. Right. The last but one critical factor. Everybody talks of corruption. Anna, Ramdev, X, Y, Z, fine. Why is corruption in the defense sector? Have you ever analyzed? You know, defense is considered a holy cow. Why is corruption entering into it? You know why? I explained to you 2 minutes back. You are all intelligent people to catch on. You know, if you buy equipment from outside, there is no money. Very little money goes outside. If you indigenize, the problem starts. So therefore, no indigenization takes place. You buy it from outside, there is so much kickback money. And where does this money go? To the party funds. So therefore, defense is a golden goose. No political party wants to kill it. And that's the crux of the story. And therefore this carries on. Our scientists are bad. I see all this intelligence here. You give you 24 hours, you will produce a prototype of a truck and produce it. Or Tata. Take anybody, Ashok Leyland. We think we can't produce trucks, but we won't produce it for next 20 years. Because of this one reason, corruption, kickback money, getting into party funds. All political parties are part of it. So therefore, this is what is the malady. And who is the sufferer? A poor soldier in Siachen is without snow boots, without snow goggles. He is fighting without, you know, I have been there at 45 degrees, minus 45 degrees. You know what it is to be? Has any one of our politicians been there? Has any one of our bureaucrats been there? You cannot walk 2 yards. You start gasping for breath. You get into frostbite. 2 minutes you are exposed, frostbite. Within 2 hours your leg gets amputated because of frostbite and the leg becomes useless, gone. Right. You see the minus your goggles, sun goggles, the ultraviolet rays hits the snow and then you see it, you become snow blind. You walk in the snow, your water gets into your heart and gets into the lungs and it is called pulmonary edema. And within 2 hours, if you are not evacuated and put in the oxygen chamber, you die. And people are at 22,000 feet, bad weather. How do you evacuate? To the helicopter, 4 people have to carry him down for 6 hours. No roads. Through the ice, people bring it. This is day to day happening. But people indulge in corruption and then say 60 crores is not big. And then now 20,000 crores is not big. Now 1.5 lakh crores is not big. Now today I read in papers some 10 lakh crores. They are lost value for money. Right. Now, last but not the least, to me, standing here, the person who has been in uniform, now out of uniform, shames me. And I have no hesitation in acknowledging it. It is the steep, calamitous decline in the values of senior hierarchy in the armed forces. I accept that. That is, the environment has polluted them. You know, the senior hierarchy seems all their counterparts having a lovely lifestyle. So they want to keep up with Jnana, right or wrong. I don't approve of it. But that's what is infected. And what message it is sending down. So keep up with the Jnana. And that is why people take up jobs with companies like Tatra. They become agents. There is kickback, bureaucrats, because they know the system. The bureaucrats and the army people, senior people have worked in the system. They know how to go around the system. They become part of this dirty system. It hurts me. But then we need to, the army or the defense forces need to correct this. Of course, I would also love to have an August swank 3-bedroom flat. Well, that's a very good temptation, I'm telling you. The person who has lived a Spartan life, suddenly August is given on a platter. I do not know whether I will become pliable or not. If you give me, then I will tell you whether I can. Right. The next point I want to tell about promotions. This is another, you know, we have 40,000 officers in the army. 40,000 officers. We have 12,000 shot for the last 20 years. 1/3 shot at the cutting edge level. The persons like Madras and who go and die in Kargil, 12,000 shot and 25 years. What has the government done? See, unless no politician sends joins, no bureaucrats send Jnana in the army, I don't think any IT people will send their sons. I asked somebody, will you send your daughter to the army? Of course not. Okay, fine, thank God. I have some copy. Right. See, the comparison of 6,000 to 8,000 IAS officers, every one of them reach up to Joint Secretary's rank, Major General. Every one of them, 100%. Compared to Army, 0.6% reach that rank. 0.6%. Can you believe it? After 30 years, people are thrown out. Not because they are inefficient, but there is no vacancy. So they are thrown out. 0.6% reach the rank of Major General. 0.2% reach my rank, Additional Secretary. Where 60 to 70% of IAS officers reach that rank. You tell me, what is this anomaly? Why if veterans make noise, the army makes noise, people are worried? Now, I won't talk about it any further. We might talk about it in question. Right. With all this, the army is not bothered about pay. I joined the army at 460 rupees in 1960. When my grandfather was offering me 2,000 rupees pocket money as a leading lawyer, I would have become an AMS. What is AMS? Twitter language I learned from you. Abhishek Manu Singh, minus the CD of course. I will reach this level. You know, my grandfather gave me 2,000 rupees. And I bought petrol at 60 paisa a litre. You are buying at 80 rupees today. 60 paisa a litre. 2 rupees my scooter was full. 800 rupees we bought a scooter. 400 was comfortable. I shunned that to 2,000 rupees and joined the army. And today I don't regret, I'm a happy man. But how many are willing to come today? This is my question to the government. Why are you not making army lucrative? Why should somebody today, Jawan, go and say, I will die for this country, when he knows that he is defending a corrupt system? The more and more he sees the corrupt system, his faith is being shaken. The government has to bring that faith back and say, it is worth the dying for this nation. Now if you take out this fight, it is the last bastion. It is Brahmastra. And if you take out the Brahmastra and neutralize it, who is going to defend your country? The police people? Or the politician will go and fight? God save this country. Right. Now, last point, I will talk about insensitivity. You know, dignity and honor. Slowly, steadily, you know, the warrant of precedence of our chief have been brought down. I will talk about it in question hour if you want, because I have got much more to talk about. But what has hurt me? You know, we have one field marshal who won Bangladesh war for you. You all agree? It made us, every Indian, proud. He died 2 months back. You know, for 15 years he was fighting to get his arrears of pay as field marshal. And 20 days before his death, his money was sent. And when he died, not one minister from the state, not one minister from the center attended his funeral. Shameful. And when bodies arrive in USA, I have been in USA, the president goes and receives the body. And then we talk about a nation which we want to become global power, we need to change our attitude. Right, now I'll change gears and, am I exceeding the time? Okay, I have one major topic, defense, procurement and operational preparedness. This is a vital issue which came out of this 14 crore bribery, Tatra, and then chief's letter to the Prime Minister, the leakage. So therefore I must make certain things very clear to you. You know, the RM, just let's understand the scenario before we further go. What is the scenario today? Let us take China. Right? China is influencing 7,500 kilometers of our borders. China has built infrastructure and built enough army potential in Tibet. They can strike you anywhere, anytime. The roads have come right up to our borders. And we have no infrastructure in Arunachal Pradesh. And when we try, China tells you, oh, don't do it. And then we say, yes sir, Hukumji, we won't do it. Weak need, soft state. In our own territory we can't build roads. So how will you get the confidence of the people of Arunachal Pradesh? Right. 3. China has synergized with Pakistan, and you know how their friendship is and what damage it can do. They have placed Pakistan army, sorry, not the Pakistan, the PLA, the Chinese army, People's Liberation Army, in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Slowly and steadily they are getting it. The other day you thought they are going to do a satellite, they are taking the help of Japan and others. They are slowly building up friendship from others to say this territory of ours. What are we doing about it? We are looking at it. And S.M. Krishna said, I have taken up this case with the concerned government. The law will take its own course. The law will take its own course. Let it take. This is China. They have emboldened the Maoists at Nepal. And those Maoist Naxalites now are in collusion in India. That's China. Pakistan, the less said the better. You know what problems we have in Pakistan. I won't touch it. But I'll come down to this Maoist. It's very interesting. Do you all aware? I'm sure you're aware. Today, 20-25 years back, there were no Maoists. There were no Naxalites. When Charu Mazumdar and Kanu Sanyal started it in Bengal, there was nothing. They started it as a small unit. Today, the Maoist Naxalites control 40% of Indian territory. Influence, I don't say control. They control a lot, but influencing 40%. And it is increasing. You go to Maharashtra, in Boribandar or in Juhu, they have a bomb factory right at the north of the Maharashtrian government. And they say we have discovered it. Very big discovery. This is not sun or moon. You are discovering a gun factory by Moxon. You must have read it in papers just 2 days back. This is our state of affairs. And the other 10% are border, J&K, Nagaland, and Mizoram, etc. So 50% are under the influence of the people. What is our home ministry? What is the government doing about it? And then every time, knee-jerk reaction, oh, we are getting in, we will have interlocutors, we will have mediators. It's tamasha. Right. We can't be fighting like this, we have to take a stand. They have a grudge. I don't deny it. You know, these people have been treated badly by the government. Let us accept it. After that, what? We don't know. They don't want to get in because they are afraid. Nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to go to J&K. And if they go to J&K, there are 1,000 people surrounding them. Right? And where will the development take place? One poor man goes and gets kidnapped. And then you will hand over, and for next 3 months, 6 months, nobody will go anywhere. And this will carry on. How long? Right. So therefore, what has this government done? Instead of removing poverty, they have turned poverty into vote bank. Now this is the condition. And this has carried on for 60 years. Used poverty as vote bank. Very unfortunate. Right. Now, having said that, 2 years back our Raksha Mantri made a statement, we must be prepared for a two-front war. Where are the two fronts? China, Pakistan. And then said, you must be fully prepared for it. If not, you are fully prepared for two-front war. One side you must hold and another side you must attack. Offensive and another hold. You all nodded our head. What does this translate into? In terms of preparedness, I will just give you an example. Right. First I will take Indian Navy. Today Indian Navy has to secure the EEZ, economic zones. It has to fight piracy. It has to fight lines of communication. It has to guard 7,500 kilometers of coastal area. It has to guard Andaman Nicobar Islands and the other islands on the other side. Right? And then, what is the status? They require 30 submarines and they have got 9. And I do not know in what condition they are. I am not going into the other equipment. Right. The Indian Air Force, for this two-front war, the Air Force judgment is 60 squadrons. And if it is to fight one side and hold the other side, 45 squadrons. The government has sanctioned 40 squadrons. And by 2020, you should have 40. What do they have? 29 squadrons. Where is 60? Where is 29? Out of that 29, you have got this death flying machines, MiG-21, which are older than me. Right? Right. I walk trotting, and then when you go, you can't walk. You are saying, when am I going to fall down? And then when they come down, thank God I have come down, tomorrow I will know. MiG-21. So if you take out all that obsolete equipment, we are down to 20, 21 squadrons. This is Indian Air Force. And let's talk about the army. We do not have medium guns. We had buffers, 1986. I will talk about it a little later. 400 out of 450% are obsolete. They are having problems with spares. We have 130 millimeter, which was pre-vintage mine. When I was in service, it was there, 30, 40 years old. We have not got from 1966 any medium gun, which is the backbone of Indian artillery. Tanks, equal power. We do not have even small arms rifles, which are worth talking to fight against terrorists. They come with AK-47, we have inferior small arms. We can't produce it. Right, I am skipping this, and we are flying these helicopters which are doing rescue operation, most difficult rescue operation, landing in snow at 20,000 feet. You know what helicopters are there? They are Second World War, Chetak and Cheetahs. I have travelled in it. Even when I was in service, I used to be scared. Ye kab girega? Bahut purana hai. And today, our pilots, risking their life, are going there, dropping things, bringing patients. And then, 2007, 800 million deal scrapped for political reasons. I will leave it at that. Let's talk about air defense. We don't have control and reporting system. And then, what about the air defense guns? L-60 and L-70, which were there even before me. Baba Adam Jamane ka. But they are still going. If they go, I don't know when one wheel will come out. But then we carry it. And then the other equipment are 70, 75 volt. Air defense is very poor. Right. What is the requirement of the services? What should be the ideal? I will tell you that. Ideal is 85% of equipment should be modern. Even the US Army cannot afford 85% more. Forget about us. So what should be the optimum? It should be 30% new equipment, 40% mature, which is in service for 10 to 20 years, and 30% obsolete. Chale, acceptable. You know what we have got? 85% obsolete equipment. Well, this is the condition. And who is looking into it? GOK. What is GOK? Thank God. Okay. Right. I will now come down to procedure for equipment. Am I eating in your time? I will stop it. Okay. Do you want me to stop here? I have got another 10-15 minutes of masala. Okay. Procedure for equipment. So I want to clarify to you because you must acknowledge about people how equipment is put. New equipment. The army makes or the services make qualitative requirement. Give it to the Director General Weapons Equipment in the army. He evaluates it and sends it to the ministry. There is a DG acquisitions. He is a civilian secretary rank, special secretary, additional secretary rank. And they have got an acquisition board. All civilians, acquisition manager, technical manager, financial manager. They give demand to the foreign firms. So who is in touch with foreign firm? This procurement board. So they send all the details, they pass it on to the army. Then equipment are called for, we do the trials, we evaluate and say A, B, C are good, we give all the requirements, send it back to the ministry. Our work is over. We say this gun is good. We do the trials in desert, we do trials in mountain, we do the trials in, well, we require to fire it at 50 degrees centigrade, 50 degrees, to 50 degrees, minus 50 degrees. So we have to do trials in all the places. They do, give evaluation report, prioritize 1, 2, 3, send it to the ministry. End of the job of the army. Right, now the masala starts. Price Negotiating Committee, PNC. Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Defence presides over. He is the one who negotiates prices with them. Zyada karenge? Nahin. Delay till the price which they have in mind is agreed. Delay affects whom? The army on ground, the soldier on ground. But here, what is more important? Price. Negotiated price is what is important. Then it goes to the cabinet for approval, then the orders, then it takes. All this takes 3, 5, 6 years, sometimes 10, 15 years. You know, the modern technology, in 2 years, equipment becomes obsolete. Right? We will take 10 to 15 years, not buying an obsolete equipment which the other governments are willing to throw at you, and you don't even get spares. If it is an old equipment, I talked about the new equipment. Old equipment, we give our demand to the ministry. Ministry goes to the Ministry of Defence Production, MOD. And then they give it to the PSU, Public Sector Undertaking, Ordnance Board. And they do contract, whatever old, like Tetra, they do the contract with the people. They will buy it at 40 lakhs and then give it to the army at 80 lakhs. Who is paying? Peter robbing Paul or Paul robbing Bob, whatever it is. And then at the end of the year, the PSUs will give a fat check to the minister. You don't see in the photograph. I'm sorry, BL rep is sitting here. He must also have been present. 10 crores profit. Where did this profit come from? Did you produce this? You brought it? Did reverse engineering, added values, put Indian name and gave it to us at 100% more profit. You know, this is what is happening for last 60 years. Right. Now, having done that, I will give you 4 or 5 snacks, important snacks. First is bureaucratic vacillation. You know, since everything is controlled by bureaucrats, there is vacillation. They don't take decisions. Right. Stifling control, they don't delegate it to the services. I will give you just one example. Tactical Communication System, it's called TCS. This system is to provide vital communication, first-hand communication to the fighting soldier. Because communication is very important. This is TCS, the voice, data and video. I will tell you, in 1996, we decided to buy this. 1996, note this date. We decided to buy it from outside. No, 1996, we decided we can't afford to buy it, we will upgrade the system. They said, okay, we will upgrade the system. In 2001, 5 years they did nothing. In 2001 said, we will buy it from outside. 5 years gone to take one decision. Right. 2001 they took decision to buy it from outside. 2 systems were to be imported, other to be manufactured indigenously. In 2007 said, no, we won't buy it from outside, we will manufacture indigenously. 5 years are passed. To the best of my knowledge, we haven't taken a decision which laboratory of DRDO is going to do this. 1996 to 2012. Tell me, what does the soldier do? Without communication? Get killed like flies? Right. This is bureaucratic vacillation. The second one. Blacklisting. You must have heard, corruption issue comes, blacklisted for. Fine. Easiest way is to blacklist. I take the case of buffers. 1986, the buffer scandal started. They had already bought something. Another 410 guns were in pipeline. Somehow those guns arrived, but then transfer of technology did not take place. Therefore, from 1986, we have no indigenous manufacture of field guns, but we constructed factory worth 100 crores. I don't know what is happening to that factory. For indigenous manufacture, we constructed whose money? Taxpayers' money. No transfer of technology. So therefore, no medium guns, no spares. Today, 50% of buffers are obsolete, and we are without medium guns. Backbone of artillery. I don't want to talk anything further on it. Right. Then in 2005, we went in contract with Jnana, South Africa. We identified a medium gun. They had done some hanky-panky in some other issue, so therefore they banned this 155mm gun. That's the end of 155mm gun. We also, on some reasons, banned Israel military industries, IMI. We also banned another company called STK, the Singapore technology. So all the major gun supplying industries have been blacklisted. So all the routes to our medium gun is lost. So we are stuck with old guns, and our DRDO cannot produce a medium gun. HTW, you must have heard of this name, submarines, 1981, contracted. 1987 we got 2 submarines, imported 2 submarines we assembled here. After that, some problem, STW Germany blacklisted. We have no spares, we have no upgrade system, we have no maintenance. So the submarines are in trouble. So what are we doing by blacklisting? You have closed one avenue, our indigenization doesn't take place because of corruption. Where is the army talk of our preparedness? Right, the third one, I am talking about PSU stranglehold, public sector undertakings. I have great respect for all our scientists. I have worked with Bharat Electronics very closely. My friend is sitting here, where is he? I don't know. Yeah, he's sitting here. 1965, 66, I did a radar trial, super radar, mass radar, converted into field artillery radar. Wonderful people, our scientists. But why are our PSUs lethargy? Because the political don't allow them to proceed. So today all our PSUs, instead of indigenizing, non-producing weapons, they are become traders. They buy from somebody and then sell it to somebody at some price. But the price is decided by Babu sitting in the south block. And therefore, you pat my back, I scratch your back, and let us all be happy. And who is unhappy? The poor soldier. So this is our condition of PSU. We have 39 ordnance factories and we have 9 PSUs. You tell me, what have they produced on their own, indigenously? Very little. And that capability is much more than what is on ground. Right. Transfer of technology is the major thing which my friend from BL was talking. Why we don't allow transfer of technology, I talked about it. Because where is the money then? You will produce it, you are an Indian, you will give it at price, then your profit margin will not go up, you will not give 20% to Ministry of Defence. How will they go for foreign joints? They have to go and study how other countries are fighting. all that cannot happen. So indigenization will not take place. Now I come to the DRDO. I salute DRDO for their excellent performance in our missile technology. Excellent. You know, we should be proud of the Agni and Prithvi. Having said that, I go to the other spectrum. I am very ashamed that the same DRDO, which boasts of excellent performances against American sanctions. We have done this missile technology. We haven't produced one Indian equipment which is required for the army. Be it guns, be it tanks, be it ammunition, nothing. It's for you to judge why they are clearly failed. You know, I won't go into the details. You read India Today just about 1 month back. All the DRDO's failures of this time. One, I will summarize here why DRDO is failing. DRDO promises to deliver. That's the first step. When we give our cure, then we will produce it. What is the second step? They block all the import. You then say, why are you importing? We are doing indigenous. And the ministry says, of course, Desi Bano, Videsi ko kyo hai? Why are you supporting MNC? Everybody become Baba Ramji. Right. So no import. Then what happens? They don't produce it in time, and they produce it late by 10 years, 12 years, they produce a substandard equipment. And who is the sufferer? Pollute judge. And DRDO was set up in 1958. The mission is very well laid out. I will just read it out. You know, to provide our defense services a decisive edge, mark this word, decisive edge over the enemy. They are going to produce world-class equipment so that Indian Army will have decisive edge with internationally competitive system. I am afraid, but for Agni and Prithvi, DRDO has failed us miserably. Right. Now I won't go into the list. You know, you could take out 50% of what I have spoken. You know, army man, he has to be fired after all. I will tell you what CAG wrote. You know, you can't say CAG is an army man. He said, CAG indicted the cross-disciplinary activity. He says, this is a very serious business. Defense procurement is a serious business. What are the cross-technology, military, finance, qualitative assurance, marketing, research, contract, management, project management. All this are missing in our defense procurement. And said, one word, they said, Indian Army is equipping with ill-equipped people. So that is what their statement is. You know, there is a big business. Between 2007 and 2011, we bought $12 billion worth of equipment, 60,000 crores. The next decade, we have to buy $100 billion worth of equipment is to come. $100 billion, which means 5 lakh crores of equipment is to come. And who is handling it? People with no knowledge. This is unfortunate. Okay, now I should have gone to the way forward. I will stop here, and perhaps in the question we will answer what is the way forward. Otherwise, I will keep going. Before he tells you the ground rules for questions, I have 2 ground rules. Please ask me very awkward questions. But please allow me to answer you equally awkwardly. Right, that's my privilege. But my awkwardness means no comments. You know, that's the best awkward answer I can give you. Give me that privilege. With that I stop here. I have another 15-20 minutes. I don't think I should go on. We will ask questions, and I think the answers you are expecting, we could come to that stage. Thank you very much. Now the floor is yours. Unfortunately, I have stopped all the pessimism. I am not a pessimist. I am not a dreamy optimist, but a realistic pessimist. If I was a pessimist, I should have taken green card and run away and stayed with my children. I have told them no. I was born an Indian, I have stayed an Indian and die an Indian. I have that pride in country. And I have great hope in you. I am sure all this is possible. Let us not get discouraged with what I say. But if you don't recognize the problem, Now the solution come. And you have to recognize the problem. Not with me 1 foot in the grave. So you, with 2 feet firm, and your future, your government, your India. So therefore, we will talk positively in the next 15 minutes. So when we go back, we say, yes, there is a way of hope. And there will be light beyond the tunnel. Thank you. I understand. I've been outstanding officer or standing out officer. I don't know whatever it is.
Alright, so it's a small audience. I just request you to raise your hands and I'll point out to you. You can ask a question and Jyothi can then respond. The first question there, yeah.
I would suggest, let's not go into the pessimism. Let us talk how to go forward, how to improve the relations, so that I can fill up my positive side which I have written in the law, which I have omitted. How to do it, how to improve our defense procurement. I'm preempting it, but I think that would be useful to the audience.
Okay, my name is Santosh. Sometimes back, maybe around 10, 15 or 20 days back, there was news that some army division is moving from somewhere towards Delhi. That was there in the news. Okay. So I feel, okay, it was news or it was hype or whatever created, but I feel why it cannot be a true thing. Because if you take opinion from the main people, then they will say that we should have a military rule for some time, at least 10 years military rule, then again change to some other system. Because
if you go outside and tell it, somebody will arrest you.
Okay, fine.
Okay, good. Okay, I will answer this question, please. Did you come late?
Yes.
Okay, that's why you have missed the boat. I mentioned this. 2 battalions of 800 people moved. That's it. Not division. Division consists of 30,000 people. 1 battalion on a regular training moved from Agra, which is the para battalion, and another one moved from the other side, from north, from the other side. This is a regular thing. Whether the chief's age roll is going on, they don't know. They have made it an annual training program. It's called every year the units are inspected by senior. We have what is called a mobilization program. वो रात को 10 बजे आके, sorry, I don't know why I always get it to Hindi. How many of you speak Hindi?
No.
Oh, plenty of them. So 10 o'clock at night, my boss will come. I want to see you 100 kilometers from here. All vehicles packed as if you are going for war. So rato rat we load and then start moving. And then he says, okay, have you loaded? They see the load chart and whatnot. This is part of our training. When Nehru died, 1 brigade moved. And then we said coup d'etat. This is again the same. There are more than 20,000 troops stationed in Delhi, right? And during Republic Day parade, another 20,000 land, 50,000 enough to demolish Delhi and take over from Safdarjung to Rajpath to Jijnasa Hills. And they are all manned by policemen whose rifle doesn't fire or they get stuck halfway. So therefore there is no problem. But why this? See, this is where it pains me. Day in and day out, year in, year after, we do these exercises. People move to Delhi. There was Tughlakabad ranges. I have moved to Tughlakabad range from Meerut. From Firozpur I come to Delhi. Do you mean to say I come to take over Delhi in 1962? I didn't happen. But these two poor Johnnies were doing their training. So should we, I wrote in the Twitter, should we stop staying in the barrack and not train at all? So let us not get... this is all very, very immature-ish. I think our media, that's another subject, they're doing a wonderful job. I think they're crossing the Lakshman record. And when it comes to army, they have to be doubly sure things are wrong. Don't hit this institution. Because this institution falls, your country falls. Your CESS falls, doesn't matter. Thomas goes, another Chandi will come. Your CESS falls, Krishnamurti goes, Ramamurti will come. But if chief is hit and the army falls, then Kayani will come and sit here. Let's not mix up issue. We are very open. I am very amazed at our debate. What does the debate start? After 22 and a half years, first time my channel is reporting breaking news. They are breaking my head. First news, breaking news. After every 10 minutes, and then some stupid news. Breaking news. Alright. Who are there sitting there? They are very surreal. neatly dressed, sleek, but shrill person who is conducting the debate. Two politicians sitting in opposite, तूने ये किया है 1960 में, but तूने तो ये किया है. Your crime is bigger than my crime. Both crime, but now they start weighing, and then they want the public to say which crime is less, which could be morphine. You know, and then there is one expert, self-styled expert sometimes sitting, they become temperate, and then at the last 5 minutes, whosoever party is losing, he will say, you know, I have to go to the other channel, Arna, you know, please, you know, I'm not here. He's losing. So he goes. And then that 3 minutes he gets, that expert. You know, actually what happened, Arna says, I'm sorry, I'm out of time, we will follow it till the logical conclusion. Where is the scam fodder scam? You have forgotten? Where is the Taj corridor scam? Forgotten. We will follow it till logical conclusion. Because next morning another scam, poor chap, what will you do? He has to follow it. This is what. Let's not get carried away.
The second part, that is why not 10 years of military rule? That was...
No, I'm sorry. Military rule is not the answer. We need to bring change in our system. How are you sure military people are not going to become corrupt? Let them do their job. We must follow the democratic rule. Let us not deviate from democracy. I am not for military rule. We are not there to govern. We are there to protect. The governance is the civilian's responsibility. Let not irresponsible people decide. You know, I wrote in my Twitter, which nobody reads. But now I think you will go. You know my suggestion? I respect people in Freedom Park. I respect people in Ramlila Maidan. But I am sorry, it's a forgotten affair after 1 month. All your efforts have gone waste. Take my suggestion. However stupid it is, don't think about it. You know, I have stayed in power. I have been very close to power. Come what may, however noise you make, you cannot bring a change. You have to get into their den to fight their battle. 100 honest people in the urban areas must stand for election. You youth must decide today which one is suitable to represent me. You win 50 seats. I am telling you, the urban mood is today, utilize it. Let us form a party and say, yes, these 50 people, let us all work for it. Forget all this hunger strike and all. तू भूखा मर रहा है, वो air condition में बैठ के chicken खा रहे हैं. And then they are having the last laugh. Our politicians and Pakistanis are having the last laugh. And the people and the army are bleeding. Let us change this. Let us have the last laugh. You see, 50 people, even if you win 50 seats, 20 seats Mamta is blackmailing. If 50 of us get together, we can bring about a change. And there is no other way we can bring about a change. Okay, sir. Right.
Sir,
here.
Yeah.
My name is Manohar, and just in the beginning of your talk, you mentioned how army has taken over many things. You said how it is there in Raisana Hills. You are represented in Bollywood.
I didn't say they have taken over.
No.
Minus that.
Sure. So, but if there is one sector where there is a big deficiency, is it with public relations. I mean, or the media industry, where the army's voice doesn't come out at all. Does army even have a spokesperson? I mean, who will go and represent himself and give an authentic view of the army in the media? Why doesn't army do something there?
Okay, very good question. I will answer it in one line. You speak, you are damned. If you don't speak, you are damned. What do I do? You know, civilian supremacy. We are prevented from talking to the people. You know, at particular rank, we have a spokesman, but then we are told, you know, the transparency, secretness, all that, you don't know how the ministry functions. I agree with you.
No, I'm saying,
so my answer.
You just go and start a
Just 1 minute.
Go and start a Facebook page for Indian Army. Let 10 million people like it. Everyone will shut up.
No, I agree. But then point is, we have to change the system. That is why in one of the recommendations, I said, instead of the defense minister presenting the defense budget and speaking, the 3 chiefs must speak to the parliament every year and say how well we are prepared. It is broadcast to the nation, and the parties must give a whip. They give a whip when their pay is to be raised. When they give a whip when their kursi is being pulled down. They give a whip and everybody to be present and listen compulsorily to the 3 chiefs how well we are prepared. That is our deficiency. There is no secrecy. You take a decision today, tomorrow it is in Pakistan papers. This is our secrecy. And then we want to hide it from our people. So the chiefs must be allowed, firstly the interaction must take place with the ministry. Chiefs must be allowed to speak to the parliament directly, so that the entire people listen to the chief says and then decide who is going wrong, where they are going wrong. Then you start thinking. Let us start slowly, right? This is what it is. Yeah.
My name is Nandini. I'm trying to just link your last sentence, which you answered him, and then I take on from him. Public relations and your relations with the society, the military relations with the society. If I remember well, Arjun Ray started some program in this field where civil people were taken, who were volunteers, they were taken to Jammu and Kashmir, the Kashmir borders, and they were, they were asked to mingle and, do a lot of social service.
What's the question?
No, can't you just mobilize that more? Where more and more people from the civil society interact with the military, and then, there can be a harmony. Forget about the official Secrets Act and official meeting and other things. But this type of relation, good relation,
I totally agree. There must be more interaction, there must be more transparency. I was fighting terrorism in Pakistan. If somebody says, not Pakistan, in the Punjab border, for 3 years, if somebody said the army has removed the terrorists, I defied. If Mr. Gill says I have taken the credit, I defied. It's the people who fought the war and then removed terrorism from Punjab. You know why? Any Punjabi here? That you will understand it better. They are very fun-loving people. Pura din काम करो, शाम को ढाबे में जाओ, chicken खाओ, दारू पियो and come back. And their freedom was curtailed by curfew. So they said, the damn terrorists, मेरा दारू बंद कर दिया और इनको बंद करो. Their fighting and terrorism was removed. It's the people who have to fight it. And therefore, we, in all the people, we do conduct Sadbhavana mission. A lot of J&K children are visiting Bangalore. They are being brought here. We do all that. But then, there is a limit to what we can do. Today we don't have time to do training. We are fighting, 60% of army is fighting what the police should be doing. Just because they can't handle, they are handling 60%. Where is the army going to do training for war? So I agree with you. In a democratic place, the army must find its place, must be transparent, must be given an opportunity. Wonderful thing. We are slow at it. We are doing it, but then lot could be done. We have defense exhibitions. We have Republic Day parade. But then that is not enough. That's all very official. Informally, we must... See, today I come and talk to you, perhaps a lot of misunderstanding must have been clear. See, therefore, we must have such talks to the civilian public, instead of going... I wish I could go to the colleges and speak on civil military relations. They are young people. They should understand. Then they will take action. I agree. Right.
Sir.
Yeah. Yeah, Vinay.
Do you think the military should take over the intelligence in India as in Pakistan, and what are the advantages and drawbacks of it?
You see, each intelligence looks at it from a particular point of view. Unfortunately, for all these years, there is always one-upmanship in India. Everybody wants to give the information to Prime Minister first. This has happened there. So the army, the IB, the RAW, and the hundreds of intelligence agencies, the Navy, the Air Force, there is no coordination. They started one coordinating agency, but they won't give this information. We need to have an integrated system, the civil, military, intelligence, and then the intelligence must go to the people at the correct time. What's the point of intelligence going after 10 days? That is why there is no integration. In fact, I have gone to the extent in my writing, the Army, Navy, Air Force must be integrated and made into one command. They themselves are fighting between each other, amongst each other. Make it integration. The Ministry of Defence must be integrated. Today, unfortunately, the decision making is with the ministry. The army has no say in the military matters. Isn't it very funny? They say go and fight there, you go and fight there. It's like a robo. The army must have its legitimate say. I'm not saying they must take over. There must be an integrated system We started with the CDS, this Chief of Defence Staff, but they don't want to give it because he will become powerful, the Chief of Defence Staff. So therefore they have given an assistant CDS. There is no definition. We must have a defence board where the Chief of Defence Staff sits with all the three chiefs and the Defence Secretary as a member. Then there is no you and I, then it is we. That defence board takes the decision and goes to the minister. Here, the army, it's surprising how the file system works in the army. There is a main file in the army. We write all the letters. And then we have a part file. From all that, we put it into the part file, the chief of the army staff signs it. Only all the logical things which have gone through from bottom to up doesn't go to the ministry. The chief writes it. That file is marked to the Raksha Mantri or the Defence Secretary. The moment it goes to the Defence Secretary, he doesn't see it. It goes down to the section officer. Right? And from there the files are taken out. He keeps the army's main file. He prepares his own file. And in that part file, they put down their comments. And it goes up to the Raksha Mantri. So, the chief's letter and all the logic as to why it should not be done by the ministry are written in their file. Why it should be done, the logic of the military file doesn't go to them. And Raksha Mantri doesn't have time. Whom does he follow? They don't have time. If you go through the file, the section officer or the director, he writes all the reasons as to what are good and bad about it. The joint secretary says, may agree. Additional secretary says, we may agree with this modification. Defence secretary says, yes. Raksha Mantri says, approve. That's all. All that is done at that one particular level. The ministry doesn't have the logic of the army. They don't call the army and say, why have you written this? Overruled. And that's the end of it. So if you have a system where there is one file system where everybody's logic goes up, then the minister will get the correct form. See, these are all small working things, but then they make major difference. So therefore a CDS is an important thing, Defence Board. All decisions are taken at that level, including procurement, everything. See, procurement. Who is taking decisions? As I told you, it's a ministry. And then, firstly, not knowledgeable people. People come for 2 years and go away. The army people who are dealing come for 2 years and go away. The entire procedure takes 5 to 10 years. We don't have a continuity. So therefore, there must be a rolling modernization procurement board, which consists of military, industry, finance, management, all that. They manage it for 10 years. And then 1/3 retire. So then there is continuity. And then you have a time program. You have an accountability. You say, damn well, produce this equipment in 5 years. Otherwise, Mr. So-and-so, you are out of the place. There is no accountability today. The cost overruns, time overruns are enormous. What should be produced in 2 years should be produced in 15 years. I'll just give you an example. Just one example. Okay, just one equipment. Light combat aircraft, very important for our RETI purposes. It was commissioned November 2001. How many years back? 11 years back. It is already, they were to give, but then they have already said 4 years delay, and then it will become another 8 years delay. Right. Cost overrun from 3,300 crores to 7,780 crores. 150% more because of the delay. Who is responsible? Where is the accountability? Whose money is it? You build a house, if there is 100 rupees extra, you start trimming. But this is government money, 100%. And there are some cases, there are 500, 600% escalation of prices. No accountability. So therefore, this board is a very important procurement. Indigenization. We have to do indigenization. We can't do. During war in 65 and 71, the Americans took us for a ride and not giving ammunition. Why should we do that? I respect my friends in the DRDO and the PSUs to give me ammunition. You want 15 days, 100 days, we will give you. Start indigenization. They are capable of doing it, but they are prevented from doing it. They are also become lethargic. ठीक है, I get buy it at 40, they are, retail trader, that's what they are reduced to. Buy it at 40 lakhs Tata, sell it at 80 lakhs. What have they done? 40 lakhs of profit, 10% to the agent, 20% to them, army pays 80 lakhs. This is applicable across the board. Okay, so this is what it is. Yeah.
You gave many precedents like many senior officers in the 70s accepted whatsoever civilian government said. But what we are seeing today, General VK Singh at least fighting with the government or at least standing in front of the government saying this is not correct. Had they spoken at that time, do you think situation would have been better?
What decision?
Means many dictates of the government like this should, he should be a general, he should not be a general. Whosoever they said they accepted it. But now at least is
I have a paper here.
I know that such a question will answer. You can't read it, but I'll just read the heading. It might give you a shock. 1997, March 4th, Pioneer paper.
It says, Defense Minister gives extension, promotion to retiring Major General. When Mulayam bends rules, it hurts Army. This sums up the story. That's it. I am not written. It's written by people like Inder Malhotra or renowned people. They have commented. He says, case of General so-and-so, faulty promotion procedures, interfering, politicization. I have no time. I have been a victim myself. But God has been kind. So when the politics start interfering in the functioning of the army, the discipline is broken. I was shocked when 25 Rajput MPs took some delegation to the Prime Minister and said, VK Singh ki baat suno. This thing should not happen. That matter should have been sorted out by Mr. Anthony with VK Singh and not allowed it to become public. He has a ground. Right or wrong, I am not going to the merits. It's a big story, I know the entire story. So I should be looking like taking side. He has a case. It could have been sorted out. But who allowed it to become public? Who allowed it to leak? And what were their vested interests? Why are they doing damage to this institution? These are the questions we need answered. Forget about VK Singh.
Because of General VK Singh, whatsoever you say, extra involvement or extra, in the way he is bringing the things, at least public is not aware of these things. They are debating the issue. Previous days, everyone, whatsoever government said, they accepted it silently and then they said, okay, मैं अपनी pension लूँगा और जाऊँगा.
No, I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. I will tell you.
Actually, if I can just paraphrase the question, what he's saying is that should the military leadership have stood up to the government's ways much earlier rather than leave things to...
Okay, I'll answer it. What's your good name?
Rachid.
Rashid.
Rachid.
Rachid. See,